Alright, here we are. Another day in the shop, another day at NESFAB. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. As you can see, we got NFT back up on jack stands, where I feel like a lot of race cars live their lives. Not just DSMs. I feel like a lot of race cars, once you get to a point to where it's not a street car anymore, it's a race car. It's up on jack stands, it's up on a lift, it's up on pro jacks, whatever jacks it's up on, it's about something getting worked on. So, as you guys seen in the last video at the track, the last testing session at PMP, we are on to something. Every outing, every test session, we're making progress. So we trapped a PB on mile per hour. It was like 164 and a half, 165. I'll put the time slip up here. So that was a PB, mile per hour. So at that time, it was still currently the fastest H pattern DSM record holder. But since then, congratulations to Christian and team. The Galant VR4 here, and he's based out of Colorado Springs. But anyways, he just set the new 4G63. It's a Galant, so it's technically not a DSM, but some people consider it DSM. But he got the record back for 4G63. He went like 8.4 at like 173 miles an hour, if I remember right. Again, if I'll just try to search down the type slip, but if I can find it, I'll put it in right here too. But congrats to him, big kudos. So that only gives me more motivation to get this thing dialed in and doing what it's supposed to be doing. If you guys are familiar with race car setups, if you're familiar with the parts that are on NFT, then you know that once this thing is dialed in and it makes clean passes, you guys know what the car should run, because I know what it should run. With the turbo, with the parts, with the mile per hour. Obviously you guys aren't familiar with the tune and what's in the tune and stuff, but I think I've said this before, like it's turned down, so it's like it's not turned down so much, but there's still so much left in it. Like we've only been making like 50 psi passes. We only revved like 9,500. Some guys revved like 10,000, and the timing is really conservative, like 17 degrees on timing. Some people may be like, oh, that's a lot of timing, and then some people are like, oh, that's really low on timing. Just depends on the way your tuning strategy is. Obviously, with the way I got it tuned right now, the motor's been great, knock on wood. You know, we put a lot of passes on it, put a lot of hits, and like the motor's hanging in there, and it's probably because we've had it turned down. So anyways, rambling on a little bit. In this video, we got a couple things to do. So in the last outing, the track got cold. There's a couple oil downs, so they cut testing. So unfortunately, I think we were going to be able to make one more pass, but we couldn't. So loaded up, came home, went to go pull the car out of the trailer, and noticed that there's transmission fluid underneath the car on the floor when we pulled it out. So I'm like, what the heck? I was like, maybe it's just an axle seal, because we're having all those front CV axle issues with the subframe issues. You guys seen that whole debacle. Got that fixed, and obviously we didn't have any more subframe issues. But anyways, transmission fluid was leaking, so I was like, all right, pulled the transfer case so I could see that seal wasn't coming from the CV axle seal. Looked up there with the flashlight, it was coming from the bell housing by the clutch area. So I was like, maybe it's an input shaft seal leaking. So I'm like, oh, we got to pull the tranny down, got to pull it completely apart. Well, once I got the transmission out, I got a couple pictures here. You guys see it's cracked, so the bell housing's cracked. So I was like, this bell housing's been around for a long time. Dave's ran it, I've ran it. So it's taken a lot of abuse and it's held up for a while, but I did find the reason why it did crack. So it was missing one of the dowel pins between the engine and the transmission. Fell out, I don't know when, didn't catch it, but I was looking and I figured out the one's missing. So that's gonna, like, those dowel pins, even though the transmission's bolted there, like those dowel pins really help like kind of keep everything from flexing. So just my kind of guess is just it flexed and cracked. So luckily I had tons of extra transmission parts, tons of extra transmission cases. So we got one dug out of the storage shed, and it was pretty damn dirty. So I don't like dirty stuff. So luckily I found a guy local that does vapor blasting. This is my first time ever having anything vapor blasted. So I took the whole transmission case. Once I got it disassembled, dropped it off to him, and he vapor blasted it for me. So I'll show you that, guys, here. I'll show you that here in a second. Turned out great. So now, with that being said, we got a couple things to modify on the case still to work with the PPG parts and everything, and the setup in the car. So we got to modify a couple things, and then we got to get the transmission back together. Along with that, I got rid of my next gen. Try to follow me here. This is where it gets tricky. There's a lot of numbers that I'm going to be spouting out here. So I got rid of my next gen 7685 turbo. I bought that one 2 years ago. That was like the biggest one that I was allowed to have in the class that I was running for PSCA at Bandimere. But the downfall with that though is that you gotta weigh 2,700 pounds. Well, again, if you're familiar with cars, you know that weight is not good for drivetrain / transmission. So the lighter you can make a car, the easier it is on parts. Obviously, there's weight limits for classes, so you gotta make them. You gotta abide. Your car has to weigh that amount for you to participate in these races. So I don't like the car being that heavy. I want it to be lighter. So with that being said, we dropped down to the 6785. So I picked up a next gen 6785, and that's what we've been running this season. And same thing, we trapped 165 with only 50 pounds of boost. That turbo puts out a lot of power. Well, like Precision, they constantly innovating and coming up with new turbo designs and trying to get, you know, as much power out of these compressor wheels as possible. So they came out with the next gen R product line of turbos, and I was able to sell my next gen 7685, or not sell, I guess technically trade it for a next gen 6785R. So it's supposed to be like 10% more power than the just next gen 6785s. So we have a next gen R that we're going to throw on the car. So I will show you guys right here. So this is the next gen R 6785 next gen R that we got to put on. And the way you can tell it's the R's is that it has a speed sensor bung right here, which is plugged right now because we're not going to have speed sensor or nothing. But that's how you can kind of tell if it is a next gen R. That'll have that provision for a speed sensor. But anyway, so we got this turbo to swap out, and as you guys are kind of getting a glimpse here, here's the transmission. So this is back from vapor blasting. It came out great. It looks awesome, clean. It's ready for install. Like I said, a couple mods we got to do. We got to drill a new hole, cut this off for the shifter linkage because it kind of turns it into like a short throw shifter. So it's got like the DSM's big long trucker shifter. We got to put seals in it. Like we got to transfer all this mess we have right here. Oh my god. Get it cleaned up and get it put into this case. Well, if you guys are kind of seeing what this is too, we finally picked up a Quaife front LSD for the transmission also. So at this point, that was pretty much like the last factory part was that open diff. And if you guys have watched the other videos, you kind of seen that I thought we may have broken one and stuff, but we never did. The front diffs are pretty stout. The gears are pretty good, which most of the power gets transferred to the back wheels. But now this is going to help with 60-foot times. This is going to help with not like torque steering. So it's just, I mean, it's an upgraded part. It's just going to help hopefully with 60-foot times. So we got that to put in. So we still got to get the ring gear from that stock front diff put onto here, and then we got to get all this, I don't want to say junk because there's a lot of money just sitting right here on the floor. A lot of money put in to that case. Get the transmission put back together. We gotta get the turbo swapped. We gotta get the fuel pump back on because I was messing around with the mechanical fuel pump. And we also figured out a new slipper strategy to have the ECU fully run the slipper valve. So with that being said, I gotta kind of get the wiring reran from how I had it before. So I figured out how to build the table within Haltech to have the slipper valve or have the Haltech control the slipper valve, which I'm really excited for because I feel like this is what's gonna really help the car. If you guys have watched the videos and kind of trying to zoom in and figure out what's going on with the car, you guys will see that like the car it'll move, roll out, and then like it'll launch again, and that's kind of the slipper valve not really doing what we need it to do, causing wheel hop and all kinds of stuff. So we'll go into more detail about the slipper valve once we get to that part of the video. But it's kind of getting you guys caught up. I'm gonna just ramble on for about 9-10 minutes, but want to get you guys filled in. So we got transmission, we got turbo, we got front LSD, we got PPG parts, we got all kinds of stuff to get done on NFT because we got like a race in like 1 week if the weather holds out. That's not a race, sorry, it's a test session, a private track session that we're gonna try to take the car to. if it does good, we may try to do some out-of-state races in warmer weather. We'll see how that goes. But anyways, we gotta get the camera set up, and you guys know what we gotta do. Let's get to GSD and baby. Let's go. Okay, all modifications and transmission is back together. So, man, it's looking good. So that vapor blasting, highly recommend it. If you guys got some dirty parts, you need to get vapor blasted. Or if you want to get cleaned up, get them vapor blasted. I still need to put in the 2 CV axle seals right there and on the bottom side, but obviously the silicone's wet, so I don't want to touch it. I don't want to move it. So we'll let that set up for a day, put those seals back in, and then we'll slap the transmission back in the car. Plus, we still got to swap the turbo. And what else was it? Turbo, fuel pump. Still got a list of stuff to do. So, got the transmissions knocked out, and still trying to debate on what I want to do next. We'll get it figured out. We'll get it knocked out. So, let's see what we end up deciding to do. All right, so we're going to tackle putting the fuel pump back on real quick. That's simple. The reason we're having fuel pump issues, well, as you guys saw in the last video, the fuel pump popped out, the bolts stripped out at the track. So I tried using an easy out to get the bracket off, but I couldn't, so I just had to put the fuel pump back on. But I ran to Ace and got some bolts, but I don't like that they're black. So we ordered some online, and the new bolts finally came in. So we're gonna slap that back on real quick, which that's gonna be pretty quick. And then we'll switch to probably, I want to get the transmission back in, but I don't want to open up the garage door because it's cold outside. I got the heater on, but I have to open up the garage door to use the jack to get the transmission back up in there. I may just tough it out and maybe manually put it up in there. I've done it before, but we'll see once we get the fuel pump on. So that's what's going on. Let's get to it. GSD. All right, fuel pump you saw, quick, pretty fast. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get the next gen 6785 off the car. That's what's currently installed in the car. We're going to get up on the bench, and we're going to do a little comparison between the next gen 6785 and then the next gen R 6785, and kind of see if we can visually see like a difference on the compressor wheel. That's like the only supposed to be difference, is the compressor wheel supposed to be different. You know, I got this housing powder coated black. I haven't got that one powder coated black, but I'm curious if that one would fit in this housing. It technically shouldn't, because that housing should have more clearance for the bigger compressor wheel. But we're gonna pop that off, take it over to the bench, we'll do some comparisons, and we'll see what's up with that. So that's what we're getting ready to do. Alright, as you guys can see, we got both turbos over here. And it may be a good thing that I went and did this when I did, because I'm pretty sure this one started touching the housing. Maybe not. It almost seemed like it was maybe touching the housing. This one right there. No, I guess it was okay. I guess it wasn't touching. So okay, so this one right here is the next gen 6785, and this is the next gen R 6785. So let's see here. I guess one of the ways to tell right away is, like I said, if this one fits in this. Nope. It kind of pops in there, but it does not turn. It fits in this one, and it turns. So, that being said, let's grab the mic. Okay, it's on. It's zeroed out. Zeroed out. Let's see what this one measures at. That would fit in here. Another turbine housing. Okay, so this is just the next gen. This one measures at 4.037. 4.037. Okay. Let's see what the X-Deucer reads on the next gen R. 4.071, but this one should still read 67.9. I remember that. What millimeters? Or 66.9, sorry. Or no, 67.9. Tip. It's almost 60. Yeah, 60. 66, and this one's obviously, which this one's got a little bit of damage anyways, so I need to send this one back into precision. 66.5. So apparently these are supposed to be a 10% improvement. So we got 102.35, and we got 103.72. So 102.35. So let's see what 103.50 minus 102.35. So it's 1.15 millimeters bigger is what the next gen R is compared to the next gen 6785. So like I said, I was hoping to use this, but obviously the X-Deucer is bigger on this one, or sorry, on the next gen R compared to this one. Show me the all damn day. Oh man, slight upgrades. So, all right, next gen R 6785 is installed. And we said over the winter, which is coming up on winter time. I mean, are we in fall? No, I think we're in winter or fall still. Anyways, we're gonna end up getting this powder coated, a satin black to match the rest of it, but it looks good for now. So, all right, fuel pump's done, turbo swap is done. Got everything tight. That baby spins nice and good in there. No scraping. Turbo's good. Oil feed line's on. Oil return line is on. And is it touching right there? It might be touching right there. We'll get that fixed up. I think it's touching just a little bit. So now we just got to get the transmission back in, which is a big project. And then we got to finish the wiring for the slipper valve, which isn't that big of a project. So I think before we tackle the wiring, I think we're just going to keep it on the mechanical side. We're going to get the transmission and stuff in next. So it's time to do a little grunt work. So let's GSD, baby. Woo! Oh, what do we got here? An empty garage. Let me kick on this light so you guys see me a little bit better. I like that. So this is what we got going on right now. So car is loaded up, trailer is brought out from the graveyard. That's kind of what it felt like. But yeah, we got NFT loaded up and we are good to go test tomorrow. So you guys saw a little bit of me putting the transmission in. I had a couple issues with the, what do we have issues with? The transfer case, because we put the new transmission case on it. One of the transfer case bolt holes, where the transfer case bolts to the transmission, was stripped out. So I had to fight with that a little bit. I put it on. One of the bolts wouldn't tie in, so I had to take it back off. I had to put it a thread cert. While laying on the ground trying to get the thread cert in, I kind of drilled it at an angle, so I wasn't able to get the bolt started once the transfer case was on. Kind of turned into a shit show. But anyways, I was able to luckily straighten out the hole, get a new heel coil thread insert in, and get the transfer case bolted up. So all that went good, and then all I had to do was 2 wires for the fixing the slipper valve, so I didn't record any of that stuff. But we just got done. I did do a test drive around the block. Transmission's good, has all 4 gears, 5 if you can count reverse, and we should be good. The next gen 6785 turbo's on there. That sounded good. It's pulled up. I did get into it a little bit in second gear over here on my test track, we'll call it that. That felt okay, so I'm feeling pretty good. So it's not too late. We got everything loaded up. Hopefully I didn't forget nothing. I was kind of scrambling around in the garage, but I think we're good to go testing. So that's another thrash session here at the shop. We go test the NFT. So I know you guys like the track videos better than you do the garage videos, but the garage videos have to come in order to get the track videos. So it is what it is. So we GSD tonight. Hopefully we GSD tomorrow. That's kind of the last test session here in Colorado. There are a couple out-of-state races, but I don't know if we're going to attempt to go to those. We're just only thinking about the test session tomorrow. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, get your asses out there, GSD, and we'll see you guys at the track.